I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. I think it's safe enough to say that most of us have already or will experience at some point through our lifetime the experience of having fake friends or coming across people that are fake. And once you go through that experience, if you have already gone through that experience, then you know that that experience can be extremely difficult and sometimes very hurtful. And unfortunately, this fake friend phenomena exists all over the world. It is more apparent in some cultures than in others. And that is what I wanted to talk about today, is my experience in fake friends in USA versus Germany. Hi guys, welcome back to STEPHAN. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so and help our channel grow. I've been very fortunate in the area of friendships when it comes to both USA and in Germany. But there is a reason for my being fortunate in both countries. USA, because I grew up there. I grew up in California. And because I grew up in California, I developed deep-rooted friendships from the very beginning. Whereas someone who is a transplant from another place within the USA or from a different country coming into Los Angeles, I think their experience in trying to cultivate those true friendships is very different. When I went to Germany, because I went to Germany with STEPHAN and I met his friends, I was able to cultivate friendships with his friends that were already existing and that he already had deep-rooted friendships with and relationships with. And therefore, those friends took me into their world, and it became very easy for me to make friends. Now, coming back to this video, and for the sake of this video, I've categorized this video into 3 categories. First one is the initial meeting. The initial meeting is very different between USA and Germany, and that's something I think I want to talk about because to me it's pretty fascinating how the two cultures are so different. The second point that we're going to discuss is labels on friendships. This also is very different between USA and Germany. In USA, we have a few labels that we slap onto friendship, whereas in Germany, we don't have those labels, or they're not as widely used. The third and the last category that I'd like to discuss is maintaining a friendship. Now, with this, I feel Germany takes the win on this 100% for me in my experience. So in this category, I'd like to discuss how friendships are maintained between the two cultures. Let's start with point number 1, meeting someone for the first time. Now, I grew up in Los Angeles and I went through the experience of creating friendships and cultivating those relationships at a very early age, from grade school all the way through high school. And when I started university, I had to leave all of that behind because all of my friends after high school veered off into different directions. Some went to university, some went to a local college, some went to work directly after high school. Because I was in a university where none of my classmates from high school were, I had to recreate those friendships. And that is when I realized how difficult it is for someone who is new to Los Angeles as an adult to make new friends. And there's also a general misconception that Los Angeles is very difficult to make new friends. Whereas compared to San Francisco or San Diego or any other city in California, and believe me, in my experience, I lived in San Francisco for an entire year. It was no different than Los Angeles, except people like doing different things and they behave a little different way. But when it comes to the core of that person, it is all the same. So the main thing about meeting people in Los Angeles is that it is actually very easy to meet people. But all of that is typically on the surface. When you meet someone for the first time, there are a lot of filler words that are used. Now that I'm older, I realize that verbiage is just to fill the silence. It's a lot of fluff that is exchanged between the two people, but nothing that is at a deeper level. Whereas in Germany, it is the opposite. When you first meet someone, in my experience, it has been that they are very reserved. They will acknowledge you, but there is a sense of boundary which is not crossed. They will not ask you a lot of questions, and nor do they expect the other person to tell them what they ate last night or what their favorite restaurant is or what their career is and what school they went to within the first meeting. Moving on to point number 2, labels on friendship. Now this is, I believe, more of a US thing than just categorized to Los Angeles. In USA, we have acquaintances, friends, close friends, and then you have best friends. And then you also have best friends forever. So even though we have all these labels, it seems like everyone is a friend. Whether you meet someone for the first time and you know nothing about them, but just the fact that you actually enjoyed an evening with them, you will start calling them your friend. Now, again, this is not everyone. I'm talking about the masses. And it gets a little confusing because there is someone that works at the grocery store that Stephan and I shop at. Whenever we go in together, she will refer to us, to her colleagues, as her friends. But she doesn't know our name. She doesn't know anything about us. But just the fact that she sees us often enough that she feels that it is okay to refer to us as friends. Whereas the feelings are not mutual, because to me, the word friend is someone that I know, someone that I care about, and I know something personal about them, that we share something in common. So that word friend is thrown out a lot very easily in USA. And in Germany, I've actually not heard these labels. The only label that I've heard is the word friend. People describe their friends as friends. I haven't heard close friend, I haven't heard acquaintance, and very seldom I hear the words best friend. Also in Germany, in my experience, people will not refer to someone as their friend unless they actually are their real friend, as far as they know them, they actually hang out together, they have something in common, they share some kind of bond together. That is your friend, and that's when you give them the title of a friend. Now we're at our last point, which is maintenance of friendships. Before I get into my interpretation based on my experience in USA of how I feel the maintenance of a friendship is in USA, I think it's important to understand the cultural makeup of USA. USA is a very capitalistic society, and it is a very individualistic society. This also then translates into when you go to university, when you get your first job, to be successful, you are taught to be mobile. You cannot be stagnant in one area, that you are constantly uprooted. People buy their first home, and then as soon as they can afford a bigger home, they move to the next home. Then they keep doing this pretty much all of their lives. In USA, I feel this mentality then translates into friendship as well, and maintenance of any relationship, that people are very transient. I think a lot of people don't know how to have a deeper connection in a relationship. And I'm not talking about everyone. I do have friends in USA that I have a very deep connection with, but I feel I'm very fortunate to have that. If there is a conflict between friends, then it is dealt with in a very PC way. You don't want to hurt the other person's feeling, or it could also be that you don't want to lose a friend. It's almost as if you want to maintain a friendship at this level without digging too deep into the real person or the reality of everything that's going on around you within that relationship. In Germany, it is the complete opposite. If there is a conflict between friends, then people are generally very direct. They get to the problem, they talk about the problem, and I think in the long run, this develops a deeper connection in a relationship. It creates a deeper understanding between friends, and this is what leads to long-lasting, forever lasting friendships. Now, having said all of this, there are fake people everywhere. I've had the unfortunate experience of experiencing fake friends in California and unfortunately in Germany as well. And through those experiences, I've learned how to cultivate better and truthful friendships and how to avoid fake friends in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion with me today. Please let me know your thoughts on this topic in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.